現在29歳でエンゼルスのフリーエージェントとなり、アメリカ野球界のスーパースターとして知られる大谷翔平。大谷の能力は世界中の野球ファンや選手、監督からも高く評価されており、特にその二刀流スタイルは多くの関心を集めています。オフシーズンに入り、最近は特に大谷に関する情報や、彼と共にプレーした選手や報道メディアからのコメントが多く出ています。そんな中、今年のシーズンにエンゼルスのチームメイトだったルーカス・ジオリト選手が、米野球専門ポッドキャスト番組、ファウルテリトリーにゲストとして出演し、エンゼルスでの大谷との共闘期間を振り返り、大谷との関係を特別なものとして語っていましたので、日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
Hey, I want to ask you about Ohtani. What was it like playing with him? Obviously Trout too, but like Ohtani's the man of the minute right now of the offseason because he just tells us everything about, every move he makes and he's telling us every team he's talking to and all of that.
Oh, so,
yeah. What else could you add? He's told us everything, but is there anything else that you can add about? Obviously, I'm kidding. Mysterious Shohei Ohtani, but like, what was it like? Did you go up to him and be like, "Hey, dude, you're awesome"? And his brain, was he cool? Like, did you guys talk? This is what I thought of too. Because I know you're a gamer. Isn't he a big gamer? I try and tell people at least. I feel like he said that once in life at least, that you can connect with him on that level.
Yeah, so I got to know him like decently well for like a month period. Him and Ippei, his translator, who's like they're attached at the hip. It makes it really easy because Shohei knows a good amount of English, he knows a good amount of Spanish, but sometimes like when conversation isn't flowing well, he always had Ippei there to help out. And Ippei's super cool too. He's a man. So yeah, I got to know him pretty well. I mean, the biggest thing that kind of struck me, it's like you look at a player from afar. You play against him. I pitched against him a lot over the years. And it's like, man, what makes this guy so good? Like, does he work really hard, or is he just like one of those guys that like rolls out of bed and does it? And he's like naturally gifted. And he kind of has, and you don't really know until you're like with that dude and seeing like what they do on a daily basis. And he is obviously super naturally talented and gifted, and he does on both sides of the field, pitching and hitting. But I was very, very impressed with his preparation. He always had an iPad in his hand, like no matter what, when we were at the field. And he'd constantly be like scouting. He'd be like he'd be like in the weight room preparing to pitch, but like have an iPad and then the TVs showing like the opposing team's pitcher, like pitch sequencing so he could prepare to hit. Well, he's also like doing warm-up exercises for his arm because he's going to go out and pitch that night, but he's also hitting. It was like crazy. He was always doing some form of like scouting and preparation. He also sleeps a lot. That's another thing I learned that he does. He'll sleep like 14 hours. It's like, I can't do that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how much shit did you get signed by him? When they called you in the office,
you're on waivers.
Phil Nevin calls you and is like, "Hey, by the way, we've wavered you to Cleveland," and you just were like, you looked at the clubhouse guy and you're like, "Hey, man, I need like 12 balls, a couple of Tawny jerseys, like that." You went up to Shohei with like your arms full. We're like,
for my charity.
Before I leave, yeah. You can make them all out to Lucas. I'll erase that later.
Yeah, I'm honestly like not a huge memorabilia guy. I've never ever had too much interest in like getting signed stuff from other players. My claim to fame with Shohei is he followed me back on Instagram.
Oh,
so I'll take that one.
Let's go.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
Yes, that's big. That's huge. That's big.
And now it's like whenever I see him, whatever team he signs with, like, maybe we sign with the same team. That'd be really
Atlanta's in the running.
But no, I'll always like, we have like that relationship. I can always go and say hi to him and see how he's doing. Yeah, he's also like low key very funny. He would like talk shit to me here and there, like he'd make fun of me a little bit, which I enjoyed. So yeah, I mean, he was a good teammate. He really wants to win. Like I can see that he wants to win. Like he wants to win World Series pretty bad. So yeah, best of luck to him.
またアメリカでは大谷の移籍先についての憶測も盛んに行われており、移籍先の有力候補の一つとしてロサンゼルスドジャースが挙げられている中、ジオリト選手自身もロサンゼルス近郊の出身であり、ドジャースへの移籍の噂があり、大谷と再びチームメイトになる可能性について、
本当にクールだ。
と述べていました。また、大谷がワールドシリーズで勝利を望んでいるというジオリト選手のコメントは、大谷の野球に対する情熱と目標の高さを示しています。エンゼルスを去ったジオリト選手は、そのキャリアにおいて他の選手からの記念品やサインをあまり重視してこなかったものの、大谷との関係だけは特別なものとして捉えており、彼は 大谷が自分のインスタグラムをフォローしてくれたことを自慢できることとして挙げており、これは彼らの間の友情と敬意の深さを物語っていましたね。ジオリト選手は、大谷が将来どのチームと契約するかはまだ不明ですが、彼が常に勝利を目指していることを強調し、大谷の成功を心から願ってくれていました。
マーク氏が考える、大谷を最も必要としているチームとは？
大谷翔平に関して、最近のメディア報道や専門家の分析をまとめると、彼の今後の去就に関して大きな注目が集まっていることは明らかです。MLB ネットワークのジョン・ヘイマン氏は、
大谷の去就は12月6日のウィンターミーティングが終了するまでに決定する可能性が高い
とし、ヘイマン氏曰く、これが現時点での一般的な見方であると述べています。また、MLB 公式サイトのマーク・フェインサンド氏も、大谷がウィンターミーティング中に契約を結ぶ可能性について推測しています。そんな中、MLB 専門局、MLB ネットワークの番組、MLB ハイヒートにマーク・フェインサンド氏が出演し、大谷の移籍先の候補として、ロサンゼルス・ドジャース、サンフランシスコ・ジャイアンツ、テキサス・レンジャーズなどが有力候補として挙がる中、
大谷翔平を最も必要としているのはどのチームか
についての議論を繰り広げていましたので、日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
MLB Network insider Mark Feinsand joining High Heat now. And Mark, you and JP Morosi did a great piece on MLB.com about the whereabouts of Shohei Ohtani and where he might end up. And you had said that the Dodgers are still the clear-cut favorite in your mind, but you're certainly not, are you taking the Dodgers or are you taking the field as far as who's going to land Shohei? What's your take?
I would still probably take the Dodgers. I think, there's been so much smoke about Shohei and the Dodgers for well over a year now. And there's nothing that's led me to believe that the Dodgers aren't going to continue to pursue him and do everything they have to, in order to get him. That said, a lot of times when there is that much smoke and everybody's pointing in one direction, the good old mystery team comes up. And I'm not sure it's so much of a mystery. We know what the teams are that can afford to pay Shohei what he's going to get. What we don't know is, does he only want to stay on the West Coast? Is he open to going to the East Coast? Would he be open to going to the Midwest? He's been very quiet. His agents have been very quiet. There's been talk out there about if anybody leaks anything from any club he meets with, they're going to hold it against them. So there's an amazing lack of information out there other than speculation. And until we know the answers to some of these questions, it's hard to predict it for sure.
And you had mentioned in the piece, Mark, that the Red Sox have kind of fallen out of favor, but what a better way to get them back in the limelight than getting Shohei Ohtani there. He likes to hit at Fenway Park. We don't know geographically if he's willing to go east. Do the Red Sox need him the most? I guess my question is, what team needs Shohei the most?
I actually think the Giants are the one that need him the most, if for no other reason than the fact that last year they had very well-publicized whiffs on Aaron Judge, who they could not sign away from the Yankees, and Carlos Correa, who they did agree to a deal with, only to have it fall apart for the physical. I think the Giants could really use an off-season win, not to mention that you'd be taking him away potentially from the Dodgers, who everybody thinks is going to get him, and adding a huge bat into a lineup that really needs a little bit of injection of life. So I think the Giants are the team that needs him the most, but I do think the Red Sox are up there on the list of teams that could really use Ohtani.
Do you see Shohei Ohtani, because he can't pitch in 2024, Mark, do you see him signing a short-term deal until he can go full boat on both sides of the ball?
I would say there's no chance of him signing a short-term deal. When you're in a position to sign a deal of 10 years and potentially over $500 million guaranteed, you don't turn that away. There could very well be an opt-out in a contract where if after 2025, he comes back, he pitches and looks like the Cy Young contender that he's looked like in the past, maybe he can opt out after 25, go out and retest the market if he thinks that there's going to be a bigger deal there, if he shows he's healthy on the mound. But there's no, what if he comes back in 25 as a pitcher and blows out the elbow again, or just doesn't look like the same guy? You're not going to risk that if you're Ohtani. He's going to sign a long-term deal here.
また、ESPN のベテラン記者バスター・ゴルニー氏によると、
大谷を知っている人と何人か話をしたが、彼らは大谷がすでに心を決めていると話していた。彼は自分がどこに行きたいかを知っているし、以前からずっとその思いがあったと言っている。
と明かし、
彼の代理人が交渉を有利に進めるために他球団とも交渉していると思う。
と話しています。意中の球団は分かりませんが、オルニー氏は、
ドジャースが彼に合っていると思っている。資金の使い方を見ても、大谷に多くの金額を費やせる。ムーキー・ベッツやフレディ・フリーマンと一緒になることは大きな助けになる。
と指摘していました。オルニー氏は特にドジャースが大谷に合っていると考えており、 ドジャースが大谷に対して多額の契約金を提供できると指摘しています。大谷翔平の存在は、野球界において非常に重要なものです。彼はただのスーパースターではなく、野球というスポーツに新たな可能性を示しています。彼の二刀流スタイルは、伝統的な野球の枠を超えたものであり、彼のような選手が登場することで、野球の未来がより豊かなものになることは間違いありません。総じて、大谷に関する最近の情報は、彼の卓越した才能、野球に対する真摯な姿勢、そして彼が周囲に与える影響の大きさを浮き彫りにしています。彼の今後の活躍が、野球ファンだけでなく、スポーツ界全体にとっても大きな関心事であり続けることは間違いないでしょう。これからも大谷の活躍から目が離せません。皆様からのコメントもお待ちしております。